Smith with X-Band Technology, and here's your tech tip for the week. This week we are going to continue with our disaster preparedness plan. Last week we talked about the emergency response team leader and its roles. This week we're going to talk about the team itself. We're going to talk about creating the plan, testing the plan, executing the plan, and then evaluating the plan. The first role of the emergency response team is to sit together as a group. Identify and categorize how much risk does this disaster have to your business. What kind of impact is it on you for your revenue? What about your clients? You need to really think about these factors. Okay, how much information are you willing to risk if it's not backed up properly? Well, if you're an IS utility client, you really don't have anything to worry about as long as everything's in the system. But if you have anything locally or at your home computer, remember we talked about this before, make sure you get it inside session. Okay, let's talk for a second about what kind of data is okay to have it inaccessible for a while. Well, email is really important to most of us, so we need to make sure that it is available to us. And when you're an IS utility, you get online and you check your email and you're okay. But what happens if you don't have the email? How long can you go without it? Or how long can you go without a photo editing software? Well, some people it'd be, I can go for quite a while. And it may be really important to others. So you need to sit down and really categorize what's important to your business. Another responsibility of the team is to come up with an evacuation plan. Now the leader will automatically have where you're going to go, but the team needs to discuss how everyone's going to get there. Just like a fire drill when you were in school. You knew it was a fire drill, the alarm went off, but you need to know what route to take. And the evacuation plan will help you do that. Now there are individual roles we need to talk about. The one person really needs to concentrate on the insurance. You probably have seen on the news recently that flood insurance is really hard to get and it's costing a lot more. Well, all this needs to be taken care of ahead of time. And then you have the role of someone who needs to get the contact information up to date. Make sure that everyone's contact information, such as their telephone number, their address, their emails, are all up to date so you know how to get a hold of your employees, your clients, your vendors. You need to make sure you have all of that information. And another role that's important is for the inventory. Someone needs to take inventory of all the equipment that's in your business. Now, taking pictures is a great idea because pictures are worth 1,000 words. So, when the person does inventory, take a picture to go along with it. It'll make your insurance process go a lot faster and easier, and also it will help with recouping anything that might have gotten destroyed during the disaster. The next individual has a unique role as far as IT. Well, when you're an IS utility client, you don't really need to worry about any of this too much, except for, remember the tech tip we talked about, getting the computer off the floor, making sure the wires didn't hang down into the flood water? Those two things are extremely important when the flood actually happens, when a hurricane hits or some kind of disaster. So make sure that you get those things taken care of. Also, battery backups, generators, everything we covered in that tech tip a couple weeks ago. Make sure the tech person knows what they're responsible for and take care of that equipment. The last part of the plan is to make sure that you can get back to business as usual. Easy, quickly. Well, you need to have a restoration plan. So, let's talk about restoring data. Are you able to restore your own data? Can you make sure applications are going to interact okay with each other? Okay, so if you're an IS utility client, you don't have anything to worry about. Nothing's going to be compromised during the storm. But if you're not, you need to consider different things like, what if a server's down? Do I need to replace a server? How much is it going to cost? Also, you need to talk about how long is it going to be down? How long, days or weeks before we can be restored? This is very important, and so it's got to be part of your plan. Now you have a plan in place. The next thing you have to do is test it, just like you would test anything else. You test drive a car before you buy it. You have fire drills before a fire. You have engagement before marriage. Every plan needs to be tested before it's actually engaged. Okay, so now let's talk about executing the plan. The disaster hits, everyone needs to do what they need to do. The emergency response leader, she needs to step up and make decisions, declare the emergency. The actual team members need to do what they are assigned to. The person in charge of the contacts, communicate. Communication is key in every emergency. So make sure that you do that. Make sure the technology end is all taken care of. Basically, if you execute the plan the way you have it, your emergency will be a much smoother situation and much easier to deal with. Now, the emergency is over. The disaster is over. What do? You need to sit down as a group. The emergency response team needs to sit down with its leader and discuss what went right, what went wrong, what could have been better, what can we do next time. Write it all down, revamp your plan for the next disaster, because unfortunately there may be another one. Thank you, and stay tuned for more tech tips.